right now, some of the most viral, highly engineered cinematic productions on the internet, they aren't actually coming out of Hollywood studios.
No, not at all.
They're happening in hotel hallways, on empty beaches, and in quiet gardens, and usually exactly 2 hours before a wedding begins.
It's incredible. We are talking about millions of views
Mhm.
and, highly optimized storytelling
Right.
and meticulous lighting setups, all designed to capture just one thing, which is two people looking at each other.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are exploring this fascinating stack of source material, including a really comprehensive guide and a digital content strategy document, both focused entirely on what the industry calls first look
Right,
moments.
those private reveals before the ceremony.
Exactly. We're going on a mission to figure out why modern couples are just entirely ditching the traditional aisle reveal. We'll look at the behind-the-scenes mechanics of planning these emotional interactions.
Because there's a lot of planning involved.
Oh, an unbelievable amount. And we'll explore how these seemingly quiet moments are basically fueling today's massive digital storytelling algorithms.
Yeah, it is a profound cultural shift. I mean, we are watching the traditional, highly public ceremony being overshadowed by this deliberately engineered private moment.
Definitely. So whether you are a learner fascinated by cultural trends, or maybe a professional in photography or event planning, or, just someone who catches yourself endlessly scrolling through those viral emotional wedding videos on your phone.
Guilty.
Right. We've all been there. But this deep dive is going to break down the precise architecture of the perfect emotional reveal. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Before we get into the heavy technical engineering of a first look, we really need to understand the underlying psychology. Like, why is a tradition that has lasted for centuries, watching a partner walk down the aisle, suddenly being replaced by a secret backstage moment?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the shift is driven by basic human neurobiology.
Neurobiology.
Yeah, and really the overwhelming pressure of modern performance.
Hmm.
Let's look at the traditional aisle reveal from a physiological standpoint.
Okay, set the scene.
You are standing at an altar, the music swells, and suddenly 200 people turn simultaneously to stare directly at you.
Just feeling that makes my chest tight.
Right, because for the human brain, having hundreds of eyes locked onto you triggers a mild fight-or-flight response. Your cortisol spikes, your heart rate elevates.
You essentially go into a dissociative survival mode. It's like live theater, and you are the lead actor who suddenly realizes you forgot your lines.
That is the exact mechanism. When you are fighting off a panic response, you just cannot fully process deep, nuanced emotion.
Wow.
The source material highlights that the first look removes that audience, which fundamentally changes the chemical response in the brain.
So without the audience, the cortisol drops.
Exactly. The couple can experience a raw, heartfelt reaction. They can cry without feeling scrutinized. They can laugh. And crucially, they can actually speak to each other.
Because, at the altar, you're wearing a lapel microphone, an officiant is directing the show, and, your grandmother is sitting 3 feet away in the front row.
Yeah, you have an audience for every breath.
You can't just stop the ceremony to tell your partner they look incredible or to take a deep breath together. You are totally trapped in the momentum of the event.
You are. And beyond that emotional release, the sources heavily emphasize the practical, logistical utility of this shift.
The timeline stuff.
Right. A wedding day is notoriously chaotic.
Mm.
By scheduling the first look before the ceremony, the couple gets the bulk of their mandatory portraits finished early.
Oh, like the bridal party photos, the family portraits?
Yes, all of those take hours. Doing them beforehand means that after the ceremony, the couple is entirely free to join their guests and actually enjoy the reception they paid for.
Which is a huge deal.
It is. Professional photographers push heavily for this because it replaces chaos with control.
Yep.
They get a peaceful, manageable environment, which yields vastly superior imagery compared to a rushed, high-stress aisle walk.
Where lighting and pacing are entirely unpredictable.
Exactly.
Okay, I hear the practicality and, the neurobiology makes total sense. But I have to push back a little here.
Sure.
Doesn't seeing each other beforehand completely ruin the magic? Like that anticipation of seeing your partner for the first time as the heavy doors swing open, isn't that the entire emotional climax of the day?
That's the traditional view, yeah.
By doing it 2 hours early in a hotel garden, aren't we just deflating the balloon before the party even starts? I'm struggling to see how moving the biggest moment of the day to a random Tuesday afternoon vibe doesn't just dilute the actual ceremony.
It's a fair question, but the data And the qualitative feedback in the source material suggests the exact opposite happens.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't deflate the emotion, it redistributes it.
Hmm.
Because the first look absorbs that nervous, jittery tension. Yeah. The couple approaches the actual ceremony in a much more grounded state.
Oh, interesting.
They are present. They can absorb the gravity of the vows, the music, and the community around them without, fighting off an anxiety attack.
So the magic of the aisle walk transforms from a moment of high anxiety shock into a moment of shared, comfortable joy.
Perfectly said.
You're separating the nervous energy from the meaningful energy.
Exactly.
But knowing that couples need this private release doesn't automatically make it happen. In fact, achieving a quote-unquote spontaneous, unobserved moment requires an intense amount of behind-the-scenes engineering.
Oh, massive amounts.
You can't just bump into each other in the hallway.
Yo, the word spontaneous is the ultimate paradox of modern event planning.
Right.
The environment is meticulously, almost obsessively architected. The source material outlines a really strict set of parameters. First, the location must be completely guest-free and visually scenic.
We are talking about romantic botanical gardens, sweeping luxury hotel balconies, beachfronts, historic architecture.
Yes, very specific aesthetics.
Which, just to inject a little reality here, often involves the hilarious absurdity of a bride hiding in a hotel service elevator behind a caterer's cart just to avoid early arriving guests.
All the time.
All to maintain the illusion of this serene, isolated environment.
That happens way more often than anyone admits.
Duh.
But the absolute non-negotiable factor in any of these locations is the physics of the lighting.
The lighting.
The sources repeatedly stress the absolute necessity of natural, window-lit, or open-shade outdoor lighting.
Why is that so rigid? I mean, we have incredibly advanced digital cameras today. Why does a patch of shade matter so much?
Because of how light interacts with human features and wedding attire? If you attempt a reveal in harsh midday sunlight, the light source is directly overhead.
Okay.
Mechanically, this casts deep black shadows under the eyes and nose, often called raccoon eyes in the industry.
Oh, not a good look.
Definitely not. Furthermore, the intensity of direct sun will completely blow out the highlights on a white dress, turning intricate lace into a glaring, featureless white blob.
So you lose all the detail.
Completely. Natural, diffused light wraps softly around the face, illuminating the eyes and preserving the texture of the clothing.
So you need this perfectly lit, isolated location, and then there is the timeline.
Right.
The rule of thumb in the source material is that the first look must be scheduled exactly 2 to 3 hours before the ceremony. That seems like an enormous chunk of time to carve out just to say hello to your partner.
It sounds like a lot, but that specific window serves as a multifaceted buffer.
Okay, how so?
Well, it allows 10 to 15 minutes for the private couple. Moment, yes. But it then seamlessly transitions into the extensive portrait sessions.
Ah, right, the bridal party photos we talked about.
Exactly. It also builds in mandatory time for makeup touch-ups because, let's be real, emotional reveals usually destroy mascara.
Good point.
Most importantly, it serves as a regulatory period. The couple gets to exist in this quiet, beautiful bubble, allowing their nervous systems to return to baseline before the guests even begin to arrive.
It's a decompression chamber. But I am still hung up on the actual mechanics of capturing this. The sources dive deeply into photography techniques. They talk about using multiple camera angles to add cinematic depth.
They do.
Close-up reaction shots, wide scenic establishing shots, over-the-shoulder reveals, and creative reflection shots using mirrors or